What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down 3 different press releases that you guys can use, mainly for bigger wide receivers and shorter, quicker wide receivers. So we're going to talk about some different things that you guys can do off the line. These are some releases that you guys may not be familiar with, so I wanted to make sure I made a video on this to help you out. And if you guys have any kind of video feedback, any kind of content or questions you guys would like to have answered in future videos, fellas, don't be afraid to leave those suggestions in the comment section below. We read every single comment, so we always appreciate the feedback. And also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you want to know everything you need to do this offseason or this summer to improve your skills in the gym and on the field, check out that very first link in the description for our ultimate 8-week wide receiver workout plan. It's an 8-week schedule with over 500 plus wide receiver drills and gym exercises for you mapped out with sets and reps. So check out that very first link below. Let's get started with this video. So first things first here, this release is going to be called a shock release. So I posted this on Instagram the other day about a shock release, and a lot of people didn't know what it was. So a shock release is something that you would want to use if you are a bigger wide receiver. You're bigger than this DB that you're going to be going up against, and it's pretty much exactly how it sounds. You're doing this to shock the DB and to get some separation. So we'll play at full speed. So this wide receiver does a great example of using that shock release on a quick slant. So pretty much there's not much like technique, I guess you can say, to this shock release, other than that you want to make sure that you are low, you're driving your feet, and you are driving from your hips. So it's pretty much like blocking, if you will. Now, a lot of people don't know that this release is actually legal. When it's within 5 yards, this is a completely legal release. This is not a push off. If you were trying to do this and the DB's 10 yards off and you push him at the top of the route, that's when it's a problem. But within 5, this is a completely legal release. So you see when this wide receiver comes off here, I believe this is Denzel Mims. He's getting low, driving from his legs, keeping a good pad level position, and pretty much just, again, shocking that DB and getting him off. Now, bigger wide receivers is when I suggest to use this. If you're maybe on the shorter side and you go up against a lot of like linebacker type guys, strong safeties walk down, or corners who are just straight up bigger than you, maybe stronger than you, I probably wouldn't go with this release because it's a good way to just get jammed. So I think this is mainly for those bigger, taller wide receivers to use this shock release, okay? So now as far as situationals go, I think you could use this in any situation. I think if you have like inside shade like this and you got to run a slant, yeah, I could use that shock release. If you got head up coverage and you have to run like maybe a quick 5-yard out, yeah, I think we could use it. I don't maybe necessarily like it when you have to run a longer developing route. So like, let's say you had to run like a post route that was at like 10 to 12 yards. I don't necessarily like doing the shock release, then going up to the post and then breaking to the post. Simply because it's just, it could take a while. You could get tied up with this DB. He could get hands. He may not fall back as much as you think. So I like it really on the quick routes. I like it on the 5-yard outs. I like it on the slants. And I like it on like the quick fades where we just have to get the ball up right away. But nothing longer developing. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Mims showing us a great example of that shock release. So now, for you shorter, quicker guys, this release is going to be one of the ones you can use to kind of freeze a DB, and that is called a split release. So if you're familiar with this page, maybe familiar with some of the stuff that we put out, you probably heard me talk about this split release before. But you can use this split release against any kind of leverage. So you could use it against inside leverage, you could use it against head up, or in this case, outside leverage. You can use it against all 3. But there's a way to kind of go about it with all 3 releases. So I'm going to play this thing full speed. This is a dig route, and he's speed cutting the break at the top. So he gives a little split, freezes that DB, takes the inside release, and then is able to break it right off. So let's talk about it. When you have a DB who's here and he's outside shape, obviously, he's outside shape for a reason. And so when you do your release, you want to threaten his leverage. You want to threaten and make it look like you're trying to just go outside right now to hopefully get him to keep that leverage, to freeze him outside so you could take a free inside release that'll keep timing with the QB. Now, the split release is a great way to do that. So split is exactly how it sounds. You're pretty much bringing your back foot up, even with your front foot, and your front foot is going out. So you were splitting the feet. And you see how there's that like split second of a hesitation right there. Reason why I like this for maybe the shorter, quicker guys is because it's a way to freeze this DB. If you're constantly coming off the line with the same speed over and over and over again, this DB starts to read that as the game progresses. He starts to kind of get a feel for us. He gets a feel for how fast we're coming off the ball, how fast we are as just an individual. So a split release is kind of a good way to throw a curveball into his, routine, his his kind of mindset towards the release. So when you do this split and he's outside shade, I recommend throwing a head and shoulder fake into it. So you come even with your base. Obviously, we know that we're probably going to take an inside release because he's outside shade. So you could give this head and shoulder fake to the outside, maybe get that DB to freeze a little bit, and then take the inside release. Now, like I said earlier, you could use this against inside shade as well. So maybe the DB's lined up inside shade. I do the exact same split to kind of freeze him, but instead of a head fake outside, I give a little head fake inside. That's the great thing about the split. You could give a head fake either way, because when you do this split and bring your back foot up even with your front foot, you're in a position of balance. So you could give that fake either way depending on the leverage of the DB. You would never want to have this DB outside shade, do the split release, give a fake inside, hoping that he jumps and completely blows his leverage, and then take the outside release. That'll never work. Now, what if he's head up coverage? Now, this is why I think the split release is very, very tough to guard, almost unguardable if you know how to do it correctly as a wide receiver. Because any leverage that he picks, we could use it against. So let's say he's head up, right? Let's say he's right in the middle, right in front of our face. It's just midline to midline. He's right in front of us. Not showing a leverage. We don't know what release we might take. And let's say it's a route like a dig where you could take an outside release, you could take an inside release. What you would want to do is you would want to get to this same position of balance, but you could react either way. I think we could agree from this position, if he wanted to, he could take an outside release, right? Because his feet are in a balanced position and he's in a base where he could push off the outside foot and go inside, or he could push off the inside foot and go outside. So either way, when you freeze him like that, when you do that split release, it's a way to get him to show his hand and react. You do this split when he's in head-up coverage. Maybe he shades to the inside a little bit. Then you take the outside release. You're able to react because you got into this balanced position, good pad level, and you kind of hesitated for a split second. Don't take too long with that. You can't just sit there and wait, but it's a great release to where you could take an inside or an outside release. That's why I think it's so dangerous, because if you could run it perfectly, you know how to use it against different leverages when he's head up, know how to react. The DB has no chance because he can't prepare for what you're going to do. He can't guess what you're going to do because it's a reaction. Let's play this thing again full speed. This is a textbook split release with a head and shoulder fake to the outside when that DB is an outside leverage. Great job by Sterling Shepard. So now, last release I wanted to talk to you guys about is called a slide and go release. Same idea. If you guys were, like, let's say if you guys were trying to build off of a release that you maybe used in the past, this is a great way to do it. So CeeDee Lamb, this is an example from him. You see guys like Keenan Allen do this all the time. Davante Adams, Justin Jefferson, some of the top route runners in the game all have this type of release in their bag because it's a great way to get that DB to guess and set a trap for him. So let's play this full speed. So Lamb, he's running just a straight up fade. This is a great release to use on a fade when you have inside shade coverage. So he slides to the outside and just takes off. Now, if you're maybe faster than the DB or just not about the same speed as a DB, I think this is a great release to use. Because whenever a DB sees a wide receiver like hesitate to the outside, automatically he's probably thinking slant. So as a wide receiver, I got to be able to do both. I want to be able, when you have inside shade coverage, and let's say you're running a slant, what do you want to do? You want to attack the outside shoulder of the DB, get him to flip his hips, and then slip back underneath, and that QB gives us a shot. Now, there's situations where you want to use that because it takes a little bit more time, obviously. But now, when you have to run this fade route, and maybe he's seen that slide release slant before, maybe he's gotten beat on it before, the next time he sees that same start off the line, that hezzy to the outside, maybe he starts to stay a little more disciplined to the inside. Maybe he starts to guess a little bit. Maybe he's like, okay, I'm not going to get beat on this slant again. Anytime I see him slide, maybe he's seen it on film, he's going to sit. And then when he sits, he's giving me a free release to the outside where I could just hesitate, get his feet to stop. He's trying to stay disciplined, and then I could go take off and run. Fellas, you got to make sure, the reason why I include this release, this goes for any wide receiver. You got to make sure you are pairing your releases together. Because if you guys can pair your releases together and make it look the same, DB has no chance. He has to rely on his technique. And when he relies on his technique, one of the decisions that he makes should be wrong. If you go here, a lot of people think that, oh, well, if you slide, well, what if he jumps out with you? Okay, fine. I could put the brakes on, take the inside release. No matter what he decides to do, I have a reaction on it. And if I know he's over anxious to jump to the outside, what am I going to do the next time I run a slant? I'm going to do that same hesitation, give him a fake outside, slip back underneath. Fellas, to be dangerous off the line, to be unpredictable off the line, things have to look the same because there is no way a DB can prepare for that. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by CeeDee Lamb, hesitating to the outside and just taking off, using that slide and go release, a great release that you guys can add to your bag. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. We always appreciate the feedback. Always great to hear from you guys as usual. And again, fellas, if you would like a full 8-week wide receiver gym and on-field workout schedule with over 500 drills and gym exercises wide receivers can use, check out that very first link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.